how many different versions of a card do you really need? Well, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name's Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. And if you've been following along with the Phyrexia All Will Be One spoiler season, you know that they are releasing an absolutely crazy number of versions of cards for this set. In particular, what we've seen is the Elish Norn has, are counting up to 15 different versions, if foils exist for all of them, of this same card. You've got just an absolutely crazy number. You've got the regular version, the Phyrexian version. You got to write this stuff down because it's impossible to keep track. The Borderless Icor Showcase, the Borderless Manga Showcase, the Borderless Concept Predators. You've got the Step and Complete foil, which is only available in the collector boosters, and then the Oil Slick, which is only available in the Complete Bundle Edition. So all of these different versions, all of these different, looks, and they all look amazing. I mean, let's just start right here. They all look really, really good. But it's kind of like when you go out to dinner and you open up the menu and the menu is just massive, and you ask the waiter, you're like, hey, what would you recommend? And they're like, well, if you like this, then you should go with this. And if you like this, you should go like this. And sometimes it's just nicer to go to the restaurant that has like a one-page menu that has you just know that whatever you order is gonna taste good because it's just the same. You know that they are leaning their energy into one thing to make it really, really good. Well, in this case, man, a lot of people are frustrated by the number of versions of these cards in the set. I think that's rightful. And I wanna talk about why I am kind of on the side that this is too many versions. But before we get there, I want to talk about some of the positives and the benefits of having different versions of cards and different chases, and that is, number one, that it just looks really cool. And some people like to have special foil versions that are on the table that they can experience, and this is why proxies exist. This is why people have their cards altered, and why they go to artists to have them actually draw on the physical card, because people like to express themselves differently at the table with different versions of things. They find value in the different artworks and that kind of stuff. And so I think that's huge. I think that's awesome. I think people should be able to do that. I'm not poo-pooing the idea of alternative cards. I also think in some ways that the chases, particularly chases in different products, actually help stores sell some of the products. I'll probably sell more complete bundles as a result of there being different cards in the complete edition. Now, I want to be very clear, I am very much against this, and we'll talk about that later in the video, but it does help them sell different products. It does accomplish a goal. It's not just pointless, it does actually help them accomplish a goal. But I want to talk about a few things on the negative side now. As beautiful as these cards look, I think that there's some reasons that Magic needs to scale back on this stuff, and here are some of my takes on why that is. Number one, I personally feel that the Magic border is just kind of outdated. Let me get a borderless card for you. This is a borderless card, and it looks awesome, and some of the new TCGs are just running with borderless cards. They don't have a border. They are really highlighting the artwork and showing off how cool it is, and it makes the game a lot more fun to play when you don't have that kind of border. You kind of feel a little bit more engaged in the game. So I actually personally feel that Magic should get rid of the Magicthegathering modern border, and they should just wide open. Every single card is borderless without that whole thing. It can just be the standard of a Magic card. Why even include the border if we were saying people don't really want that and don't really like that? In fact, what we have said as a community is that we value the retro frame over the modern border anyway. So apparently we don't even like the modern border, we prefer the retro frame. So I personally think they should get rid of that. I think it would make Magic a more competitive on the eye scale and the look scale TCG on the marketplace. It would make it look better. It makes it feel newer and more exciting. I think that would actually help more and more people come into the game when they look at that. A lot of board games are doing the same thing. The cards don't have borders because it's more appealing to the eye to look at. And now with modern printing, it's much easier to do that with a modern printing facility. All right, now let's more negatives on the number of versions. For sellers who sell singles, it's just a complete pain. And it's a complete pain for the customer who is selling the singles too, because oftentimes even they don't understand what version they have. When you come to a store, when maybe the store employee isn't as well versed, which is on the store, I get that, but it just creates a lot of problems and a lot of miscommunication, a lot of misdone orders from a TCG player standpoint. It creates a lot of issues when you have 15 different versions of the card. It was fine when it was foil, not foil, and showcase foil. That was okay. But now you have extended art and borderless, and you have all these different versions, and it's a lot to keep track of. On top of that, it changes from set to set. And I actually think there's a dialogue to have of, I personally wish sometimes that they would just stick with the same showcase, that every single card that was showcased would be the same treatment and the same thing, to give some uniform nature to the product, and it makes it easier for sellers on the the back end on the marketplaces, that they know what a showcase looks like. Whereas now in Magic there's all these different versions, and even in here we have, I think, what do I count, 3 different borderless versions of the cards. So it's just hard to keep track of and hard to remember. And then the last thing, I know I said that I like the segmenting for selling product, but to be honest, segmenting the pulls into different boxes is just a cheap way to justify Magic printing more and more different products that I'm not entirely sure the community or stores really wants. The complete edition bundle, the collector's bundle, the regular bundle, the booster box, the draft booster box, the set booster box, the collector booster box, the draft box, or the jumpstart box. There's just so many different products that accomplish so many different things. It segments the community. I did a video about this before, but I am not a fan of segmenting the community and saying, in order to get this card, you must be able to spend $300. And in order to be able to get this, you can only spend $100, so you have to have borders on your cards. I'm not a big fan of that. I think there's value in putting the community together under 1 or 2, maybe 3 different products. I'm okay with a collector box having increased pull rates. That was fine with me. I think that was a acceptable thing, that if you wanted a product that had a better chance at getting these foil versions, that's fine. But if your main way of enjoying the game is by drafting the game, I personally feel like you should have the opportunity to pull the best card in the set while you are being the person who is playing the game. That seems like a logical thing for me. And honestly, I think things like putting the oil slick version in the complete bundle only is just a, again, cheap way of selling more of those complete edition bundles, of justifying having that product be part of the product line. I don't think it actually adds value or interest or excitement to the overall community of Magic the Gathering. I think it just kind of justifies Wizards having more SKUs. I don't personally know exactly why they want more SKUs, but it's very apparent that they do. I think if you were going to add those different versions, one of the ways that you could do that, which I think would be still exciting for the community that wants those things, is to back up from 6 months from now, after the market has accepted the product and the prices have stabilized, to put those different versions in a secret layer or something like that that is direct to consumer. Those who want it can just pick it up and can just buy it. But those who want to be able to open every single card in the set and be a set collector, that kind of thing, have that ability without having 450 different cards in the set. So that would be my suggestion, and it would be work towards something like that. It's just come back to that dinner where you sit down at the dinner table and you get a menu and there's like 10 good options, and you're picking between 10 good options, and that feels good. Again, you know that the cook knows what they're making. You know that it's a good meal that's been tried and true because it made the cut of 10 meals on their table. But instead, you go to a restaurant that has a menu that's 30 pages long and it's got 50 different options, and you just don't have the confidence that they have it all together. In my mind, a game like Pokemon understands the collectability and the nature of gaming versus collectible, and they have like the trainer gallery that goes from set to set. There's a different trainer gallery and there's 30 cards in each one, and you move from set to set and they look similar and people collect the trainer gallery. I wish that that kind of stuff existed in our game in Magic the Gathering. That chase card that's a $300 alt art version that's hard to pull, rather than something that's, you have 5 different alt art versions that kind of it just makes it less fun and less exciting. So that's my personal thoughts. I would love to hear your opinions. I'm sure you've shared them on other videos and that kind of stuff, but I would love to hear your opinions in the comment section. Where do you think I'm wrong? Where do you think I'm right? Would love to hear from you. But most importantly, remember to be kind to the people that you're interacting with at the game store today, or at your house, or wherever you are. Remember that our interactions with people is really the only thing that matters, not how many different shiny versions of cards we own.